Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome. Today is our regular meeting of the San Felipe Del Rio Consolidated Independent School District Board of Trustees. Today, Monday, February 21st, 2022. Madam Secretary, would you do us the honor of calling roll? Nadia. Ms. Guanajuato? Present. Mrs. Stevens? Here. Mr. Overfelt? Present. Mr. Mesa? Here. Mr. Smith? Mr. Smith?
Present.
Myself. Sir, we have a quorum. Thank you. Let the record show that we do have a quorum of board members and that this meeting has been duly called and posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. At this time, we'll have opening ceremonies, first with a moment of silence for personal reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Thank you. First item we have on our agenda is recognitions. Item 4A, school board recognition, Sandra Hernandez and campus representatives.
Good evening, Mr. Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. It is an honor to be here today and joined by representatives of the campuses district-wide. January 2022 was designated as School Board Recognition Month. And as you are aware, we had to put a pause on the school board recognition in January, but we are back here and proud to be here to honor you today. The San Felipe Del Rio CISD administration, faculty, staff, and students are honored to celebrate its trustees today for their dedication and commitment to our district schools and students. The Texas Association of School Boards, TASB Executive Director Dan Troxel stated, "School boards are essential to a strong public education system. They provide the local governance and oversight that makes it possible for school districts to serve their students, including establishing a strategic plan, adopting policies, approving a budget, and selecting and evaluating superintendents. It's fitting that we celebrate you today. Your leadership is key to the success of every school district and every campus here in our district." We're going to begin with a video that we have compiled actually in preparation in January. We were worried that we were not going to return just due to the pandemic, but we have compiled this for you especially. Three cheers for our board members. Kids are free. Thank you.
We have a very dedicated group of members leading our district, and we want to thank them for their leadership, commitment, and support to improve our education. If you happen to see any of our school board members, please join me in thanking them for their service to our school community. At Buena Vista, we lead, learn, and leave a legacy.
Thank you for building a brighter future for all our students.
Happy School Board Appreciation Month.
Lonnie Green Elementary gives thanks to our school board. You do. Thank you. Thank you for helping us rise up and meet our potential for our student council.
Nelson Mandela once said, "Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated and passionate about what they do."
Thank you for being passionate about our education. Because of your dedication to our school district, we know we will always rise above.
Thank you, Dr. Rios, and our fabulous board members for doing a tremendous job.
We truly admire your dedication and hard work towards students, staff, and our community.
We appreciate your time and effort in leading us into the future.
Love NHE.
We appreciate Felipe, Del Rio, CISD, school board for supplying us with help and resources we use now to learn, giving us a brighter future. Thank you.
To our amazing school board members, on behalf of all of us at Ruben Chavita Elementary,
May you continue to be proud of the work you do.
the passion you have, and the difference you make for our schools.
We at San Felipe Memorial Middle School appreciate everything you do. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
SFDR School Board, thank you for everything that you do. Your hard work does not go unnoticed. Thank you for helping us grow.
Thank you from Del Rio Middle School.
On behalf of the DRFS, we would like to thank all members of the school board for their dedication to our education. Because of your leadership, we are able to soar to new heights and reach our greatest potential. Thank you.
On behalf of myself and my fellow students, Ludden Academy would like to recognize the sincere commitment and effort put forth by our school board. Your willingness to rise above allows each of us to reach our goals and become successful adults/community members. Thank you for rising above. We appreciate our school board members.
Thank you for helping us rise above. We love you. ECHS.
On behalf of the student body, I would like to thank you for your unfailing commitment to helping us reach our goals, our dreams, and preparing us for our future. The vision and goals you have set for our district have been the driving force of student achievement and success. We thank you for everything you do for us and for our families. Together, we are better.
Thank you, board members. Our students had so much fun doing this, and our campuses send you the best. We did bring them in today. There are some representatives that are here from the campuses, and I'd like to begin introducing them to you. Beginning with Cardwell Elementary.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Rios, and School Board President, Mr. Mesa. In recognition for your dedication and service to our children and our families, San Felipe Del Rio Elementary Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Tania De Leon, and Cardwell Cub, Alondra Lizondo, would like to express their gratitude.
Rain or shine, you rise above to invest in our children's future. Thank you for giving them the head start to learning.
Thank you for being the apple of our eye. Kiss your brain. Love, Cardwell Cubs.
Buena Vista Elementary.
Good evening. It is our greatest honor to represent the Buena Vista Elementary and to be addressing the members of the school board. My name is Vitrugo Villarreal, and I am the Student Council President of the Mighty Longhorns. Joining me is Adriana Briones, my fellow Longhorn and our Student Council Secretary. Success does not come easy. Selfless time, hard work, and dedication have been the driving force behind BV's achievements. Setting a foundation of good habits from an early age is important in overcoming adverse situations. We are here to show our deepest appreciation and to not only acknowledge the effort, but recognize the difficult choices that our community has been faced with. As school board members, you have been tasked with advocating for each school as well as each student and staff member. This load has been heavy, and for that, we are so very grateful. We applaud you for spearheading our program at the San Felipe CISD and commend you on the contributions that you have made to help today's students become tomorrow's leaders. Your special attention and service is greatly appreciated. Thank you for rising above.
Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary.
Good evening. My name is Karina Valdez, President of Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary Student Council.
And my name is Eliza Jimenez, Secretary of Dr. Lonnie Green Student Council.
On behalf of our Student Council members, staff, and students at our school, we would like to thank Dr. Rios and each member of our school board for their time and dedication to the students of San Felipe Del Rio CISD.
Our gift is a reminder of what you do is truly work from the heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roberto Bobby Barrera Elementary.
Good evening. I'm Eva Bocanegra, Student Council President at Roberto Bobby Barrera Elementary School, also known as RBB.
My name is Peter Wold Edwards, Student Council Vice President at RBB.
Thank you for merging with Laughlin Air Force Base to provide us with our STEM program in the district. Our program challenges and educates us with science, technology, engineering, and math. Our school absolutely loves learning new things every day. At RBB, we are so grateful for the district providing education for the military students. We are thankful for the Chromebooks, great teachers and staff, healthy food options, and school supplies. Also, through the pandemic, we appreciate all of the support and technology to do online learning. At RBB Elementary School, we definitely recognize the hard work and service that you all provided us. It has been a great year at RBB.
We look forward to our future getting brighter and smarter as the years pass. Thank you and have a great evening.
Buenas noches.
Ruben Chavita Elementary.
Good evening. My name is Mia Kolenchuk
and Natalia Hernandez
from Ruben Chavita Elementary. Thank you to our Board of Education for your leadership and commitment to our students, staff, and communities. We appreciate your efforts in leading us into the future.
Thank you for all your dedication and hard work for our school district. We appreciate all the time you spend serving our board. Together we are better. Thank you.
North Heights Elementary.
Attention, Dr. Rios and members of the band. I am Kayla Garcia, President.
I am Mariah Kerr, Treasurer of Student Council in NHEG.
Leading in the education is a huge task, and we as students look to you to guide us and look out for our best interests in our learning and education. Our future depends on it. So from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for your service to our community through school board membership, but mostly important, we thank you for your dedication to the future of our community by searching for and adopting the best learning practices for us. Thank Thank you. North Heights Elementary Student Council.
Garfield Elementary.
Good evening, Dr. Rios and the members of the board. My name is Anika Garcia, Vice President of Student Council at Garfield Elementary. With me is Matilda Garcia, historian. We would like to present you with a book that we will have dedicated in your honor to the Garfield School Library. When students read books, they are able to rise up and achieve their educational potential. We know that the students at Garfield Elementary will enjoy these books in the years to come. Thank you for your service, dedication, and support in helping every student reach their educational potential in our school district. Sincerely, Garfield Elementary Council.
Dr. Fermin Calderon Elementary.
Good afternoon, school board members. This is Danica Castillo, Student Council President.
And Marcos Rodriguez, Vice President.
We like to read a little poem called Valuable is the Work That You Do. Valuable is the work that you do. Outstanding is how you always come through. Loyal, sincere, and full of good cheer. Untiring in your efforts throughout the year. Notable are the contributions you make.
Trustworthy in every project you take. Eager to reach your every goal. Effective in the way you fulfill your role. Ready with a smile like a shining star. Special and wonderful, that's what you are. Author unknown.
We have Lamar Elementary.
Greetings, Dr. Rios and distinguished members of the board. I am 5th grader Isabella Gutierrez.
And I am 3rd grader Joshua Gutierrez.
And we are here to share gratitude and appreciation from Lamar Elementary. You are the aeronauts of San Felipe del Rio CASD Flying Crab. Because of your dedication and commitment to our district, we are soaring to new levels.
Thank you for your compassion and commitment to our district. You make day-to-day decisions that impact our learning.
Thank you for having a vision of success for us and ensuring we have the resources and supplies we need to excel.
Thank you for your humility. You serve because you care about our education, and we truly appreciate you. Most of all, thank you for believing in us and our teachers. Because you do, we are setting high goals and working hard to reach them.
We leave you with the following quote by Nelson Mandela. Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated and passionate about what they do.
Thank you for being passionate about our education. Because of your dedication, we know we will always rise above.
Next, we have San Felipe Memorial Middle School.
Good evening, Dr. Rios and school board members. My name is Campbell Alsop. On behalf of San Felipe Memorial Middle School, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for your commitment, encouragement, investment, and involvement on making our district the best that it could be. Your time, contributions, and efforts are greatly appreciated. We are fortunate to have such a dedicated group of people leading our school district to continually improve the education system. Thank you for your service to our school community.
Del Rio Middle School.
Good evening, Mr. Mesa, Dr. Rios, and school board trustees. I am Constanza Rama, 8th grade student council president.
And I am Alexander Perez, 7th grade student council president. On behalf of the administration, staff, and student body, we would like to thank you for all you have done to help us rise above all adversity and find success.
Nelson Mandela said, "Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. Due to your dedication and passion, we are able to succeed." Thank you.
Blended Academy.
Hello, my name is Norma Aguayo from Blended Academy. I'm a 12th grader.
Hello, my name is Daniel Rodriguez and I am a freshman.
On behalf of myself and fellow students, Blended Academy would like to recognize the sincere commitment and effort put forth by our school board. Your willingness to rise above allows each of us to reach our goals and become successful adults and community members. Thank you for being a difference maker.
Del Rio Freshman School.
Seventeenth one was still to be a leader right and true, have vision that is strong and clear, communicate so they can hear, have people skills based in love, and character that is far above. The competence to solve and teach, and boldness to fearless to reach. A serving heart that stands close by to help assist and edify.
Good evening, Dr. Rios and members of the board. I am Alexa Borrego, the freshman class president, and I am accompanied by Kayla Castro, the freshman class vice president. On behalf of the students and staff at Del Rio Freshman School, we would like to thank you all for your effort, time, and dedication to our education. Thanks to your support, students in San Felipe Del Rio CISD have access to limitless resources and instructional opportunities that lead students to achieve high standards of excellence. Thank you for helping us rise above.
Early College High School.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. My name is Edgar Alan Avila, and today I'm here representing Early College High School. I'm involved in the National Honor Technical Society, the National Science Honor Society, Phi Beta Kappa, OSHA, and Student Council. After graduation, I plan to attend Texas State University and major in biology. On behalf of the ECHS, we would like to sincerely thank you for all the decisions you make for the district and your continued support for higher education. This is a token of our gratitude. Thank you very much.
Del Rio High School.
Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Rios. My name is Amy Morin, and I am the Student Council President at Del Rio High School. On behalf of the student body, I would like to thank you for your commitment and dedication to helping us reach our goals, our dreams, and preparing us for our future. As students of the San Felipe Del Rio CISD, we have learned to become critical thinkers, problem solvers, and most importantly, we have built character and gained skills, which will be extremely useful as we launch into our educational path. The many programs, initiatives, and opportunities our district has provided us with, your guidance have been invaluable in preparing us for our future. Some of us will be attending college or trade school, joining the armed forces, or beginning our place in the workforce. I am not alone when I say, whatever it might be, we are ready. Even through the difficult times that our city, our state, and our nation are going through, we have been acting in our best interest while trying to maintain a sense of normalcy. We understand the decisions you have to make are not easy, but we appreciate everything you do for us and for our families. With this, you have empowered us to be bold enough to use our voice, brave enough to listen to our heart, and strong enough to seek the life we always imagined. The national theme for School Board Appreciation is Rising Above. So I will leave you with this quote from Dr. Seuss. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and soon you'll take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top the rest. And oh, all the places we will go. Thank you.
We have one more presentation, and that will be from TSDA. We have Ms. Vanessa Luna, who will be providing a presentation, I believe. Oh, okay. Well, then I guess this is the end of the presentation. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. And congratulations, school board members, for all your work and what you have done for our district.
Thank you very much. And as always, we're so grateful for all the leaders of student council and student body and representatives from each of the schools. We know that they're going to excel and prosper through the field of experiences that we have in our district here. And we're always so eager to see everyone at graduation and learn about the places they'll be going for their graduate work and careers. So again, on behalf of all the board members, thank you, parents, for being here with your children, and thank you, principals and school leaders, again, for your kind words to all of us. Anyone else? Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, next item we have is item 5, citizens to be heard. We have one person, Lisa Johansson. Just wanted to make sure that we have some rules for the citizens' comments. You have 5 minutes, and under the Texas Open Meetings Act, board members do not respond, we listen. Rules of order and decorum will be enforced during the comment section. Unlawful or disruptive conduct, including interrupting, speaking out of turn, or interfering with the rights of others, will not be tolerated. Each participant is legally responsible for the content and consequences of his or her own statements. With that being said, we have 3 minutes or 5 minutes under the Texas Open Meetings Act. 5 minutes. Ms. Johansson.
Thank you all. Good evening. Good evening, school board members. My name is Lisa Johansson. I have a first grader who attends RBB Elementary School, and my younger child will be starting pre-K there in the fall. I come to you guys tonight with 2 concerns regarding elementary education. Concern number 1, or item 1, I believe the school day is simply too long for our young children. And number 2, I am truly concerned about the lack of outdoor free play that our kids receive at elementary campuses. I do understand the length of the school day is regulated by TEA. However, when I looked at the proposed district calendar for the upcoming school year, it shows an overage in hours. I am asking the district to consider shortening their school days. In online discussion groups for inbound Laughlin personnel, I've seen a lot of parents ask about different school options that have shorter school days. The comment comes up again and again. If that's not possible to change the length of the school day, I do urge the district to prioritize more outdoor play and to limit screen time. I know Texas requires daily recess. I've been told my child does have PE 3 times a week, and I still do not believe it's enough. The American Academy of Pediatrics shared the following in an article titled "The Power of Play." Research demonstrates that developmentally appropriate play is an opportunity to promote the social, emotional, cognitive, language, and self-regulation skills that build executive function in a pro-social brain. Play is not frivolous. It enhances brain structure and function and promotes executive function, i.e. the process of learning rather than the content, which allow us to pursue goals and ignore distractions, end quote. I informally surveyed military parents how they felt about this issue online. Here are a few of the responses I received. What I cannot understand is treating 7-year-olds, in my case, like miniature adults. Children are not developmentally ready to be sitting at a desk job 8 to 3. I checked my son's Fitbit earlier, and he had 2 periods of non-activity today, an hour and a half and an hour and 20 minutes. That's too long to be sitting when you're 7.
Another quote, I am not happy with the amount of time they spend on the computer at school. Each child has their own computer at their desk. From what I understand, some of their lessons are done on Google Classroom while they are in the classroom. The same is happening in my son's class. He told me the teacher doesn't read to them. They watch a video of someone reading to them. This breaks my heart. Last quote is, overall, I've been shocked to hear my child come home and say, we watched Encanto today, and we watched Clifford today. I do know teachers are extremely pressed for time. They have paperwork, lesson plans, and lots of requirements. I certainly don't mind some videos or some screen time, but what I do mind is watching movies instead of playing outdoors when the weather is nice. Summers are brutally hot here, so why wouldn't we make an effort to maximize our time outside during the winter and spring? I know staffing and supervision make adding recess a challenge to schools. I am begging the district to please come up with creative ways to find appropriate supervision for students to play outside more. Are there aides, administrators, or rotating teachers who might supervise our playgrounds? Many studies have proven being outdoors even lowers the risk of transmission for COVID. We have some of the most beautiful weather during the school year. Can we please make outdoor free play a bigger priority for our elementary schools? Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Next item we have is item 8, reports. But the first item A, facilities and construction update, Israel Carrera.
Good evening, Board President, Dr. Rios, members of the board. I'd like to provide you an update on our projects. Starting with the ones I'd like to provide you information are the Del Rio Freshman Restroom and Life Skills renovations, the Ceniza Hills Elementary, and a roofing contract. As you can see on your screen, this is the C restrooms at the freshman. That is the boys' restroom that are complete. And these are the female restrooms here in C wing also. Those are also complete. At the life skills, they are presently working on the plumbing portion of the life skills. At the Ceniza Hills Elementary campus, they have made or poured their 6 of 6 pours of the large pours. They are continuing to erect structural steel at that area and other areas. They are they're a little behind schedule, but they have a schedule that they're going to be able to catch up at a later date, and we will be providing it. There's more structure still. The roofing, the non-TPO, they just completed the early college high school. The TPO, one that you're looking at right now is North Heights Elementary. It's the AB area. This next photo is North Heights classrooms 101 to 124, and they're about 90% complete of this. They still like a few more things to do, but they're pretty close to finishing. Once they finish North Heights, they'll either go to San Felipe Memorial Middle School or the Student Performance Center. On the non-TPO, today they started at Lamar. Are there any questions?
Board members? All the other early college was finished, the training.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for this board.
I will, if you mind, I'll go to the work order report right quick.
Sure.
On the maintenance department, on the 30-day work order, they're down 17. On the 60, they're down 4. And the 90, they're down 17, for a percentage of 89% completion rate. On technology, they are up 98 on the 30. They're up 33 on the 60-day. They're up 12 on the 90-day. And they're about a 95% completion rate. In Transportation Department, they are up 9 on the 30-day. They are even at the 60-day. And they're down 4 in the 90-day for a 96% completion rate. That concludes the report.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. The next report is item 8B, infrastructure plan for Del Rio High School access loop and future athletic complex. Dr. Rios and Sandra. Or Israel.
Good evening, Mr. Messer, members of the board. Before I begin making the presentation, I know that School Board Appreciation Month comes only once a year, but sometimes it's difficult for individuals to just grasp the depth and breadth of everything that you do. But I'll put it this way: in every presentation that we make today, before you go on and vote on everything else, every presentation that we make today has to do with something that you have either initiated yourselves or thought long and hard and deciphered before you gave your approval to move forward. And that's a whole lot. If you look at just all the money that's been invested in these programs for decisions in the education, that's really what y'all do. And that's huge. And it's no other way to frame it other than just, I know it's a lot of work. I know you don't get paid for it, but it's deeply appreciated. Your passion in coaching and making ultimate decisions is very much appreciated. So thank you for everything that you do. And I hope that everybody takes a minute just to appreciate y'all. So thank you. All right, so now on to this presentation. It's gonna be a little bit maybe out there, but we have been thinking a lot about how we're going to finish the life skills project at the Freshman Center. And in thinking about the life skills project, we think about this road that we're supposed to cut in from Main Street as a drop off for the life skills project and the investment that's going to come with that. So in thinking about the new road that we're going to cut in, the drop off point, we thought about the bigger picture and what we plan to do with that property behind the high school, because at the end of the day, we want to connect the road between Main Street and Wildcat, and it just didn't seem right to invest money on a smaller road to only say, okay, now we're ready to build a bigger road. So rather than do that, we wanted to present to you a deeper project, ask that you allow us to spend money with the architect to plan that out. Doesn't mean you're going to go ahead and do the whole project, but at least what we do now will prepare the groundwork for later, and we're not wasting the district's money. The other part is that as we look at the campuses, we know that we're still preparing North Heights Elementary to become Cardwell. There's a piece there that we haven't completely planned out, and that's the conversion of the playground. So we want to make sure that we adequately prepare for that, spend a whole lot of time thinking about it. And then we also recognize that once the students from North Heights move on to the new elementary and we move Cardwell to North Heights, we recognize that the oldest campuses in the district that haven't been touched in a meaningful way would be Buena Vista Elementary and Calderon Elementary. Those would be the next in line. So we also want to plan for the future in that. So we'd like for the architect to help us do some work there. But that's the gist of the presentation. So if you'll think about it in those terms, we're going to ask for your approval later on in making or approving our recommendation to engage the architect just to help us in that plan. So here we go. As I mentioned earlier, we're thinking of investing $221,000 just in that driveway for the life skills. So in thinking about that, well, we have to think about everything else that we want to accomplish there so that we are good stewards of your money. So here's the plan. What we want to do, this is the whole back acreage behind the high school from Main Street. The first thing I'll point out is just how clean it is. There, that first circle to the right is where the drop-off would be for the life skills. The long-term plan is to take all that undeveloped property and move all that traffic from the front of the high school to the back, thus the road. We also want to provide parking for the tennis complex. We wanted to measure the land just to make sure that all the playing fields could be restructured while we're cutting that road to the back and reallocate the playing fields. Not necessarily a baseball field would go there, but just to show there is enough room back there for the baseball fields. Long-term, we'd like to make that whole athletic complex for baseball and softball. We'd like to turn the visitor side of the stadium into the home side to adequately provide for just a adequate 6A stadium. So anyway, we, in working with Hector Chapa and his department, we went out there and we took measurements to make sure that everything would fit and then eventually connect the road to Wildcat Drive. So I want y'all to think about a few things. First is just the most congested part of the district right now is the front of the high school, because everything else has had some type of relief, whether by shifting the hours or not. So there's definitely a need. Imagine moving the drop-off area for the high school to the back, right where the baseball field currently sits. That in itself would just create a whole lot of safety. And not that I'm trying to use the fear factor at all, but we have had two not vehicle accidents, but two vehicles hit students. Obviously, they're going at low speed. But there have been two students hit in front of Early College High School and Southwest Texas Junior College. So moving that to the back would just be a huge relief to that whole area. Now, in moving that to the back, we would be cutting into the baseball field, and that would necessitate building a new baseball field. But we've also talked for a long time about just having our own athletic complex back there. Now, granted, I'm not asking y'all right now to raise your hand and say, let's go do a baseball field, but I am asking y'all just to consider the needs of the district and the vision so that what we do now for life skills won't be wasted money. Okay? So that's a proposal for the infrastructure to allow us to work with the architect to develop that so that when we do start building something, we're not wasting the money. Okay? Now there's some options moving forward. Okay? This is just cycling it through again. Oh, it's pretty neat. They did a great job cleaning back there. What did you say? Yep. Just make sure y'all notice that. So option one is just do the life skills driveway. Cut into the road and bring it up to the life skills and leave it there. Okay. The second option, oops, I went too far ahead. Let me go back to option two. Would be definitely cutting from Main Street into the life skills, but then connecting the road all the way across to Wildcat Drive. This doesn't do anything for the fields that have been disrupted, but it does start providing for the road. Incidentally, we measured the road to where it would have 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going the other way, with a center stripe and maybe a bicycle lane back there, just to make it safe for everyone. That would cost approximately $864,000 by our own calculations. Then the third option would be to do the life skills driveway, develop the road, and have the new student drop-off area in the stadium parking. Now, in option 3, and I'll let it keep playing while I talk about it, it would necessitate at least building the baseball field part, because if you cut into the student drop-off, we're gonna obviously do away with the baseball field. But like I said, we've talked about building a baseball field for the district for a while. And then option 4 is really just doing everything that's shown on here, relocating the practice fields, everything except the development of the Ram Stadium, improving the baseball field, improving the softball field, relocating the practice fields for the students, and cutting the road. Again, we're not asking y'all to vote on any one of these options right now, but we are asking that you allow us to engage the architect to start framing that work so that the money that we invest is not money that's wasted for the years to come. Now, the other projects, again, the North Heights playground to prepare it for the EC, the early childhood students, pre-K students that are going to be coming there. The playground right now is not a pre-K playground, and we'd obviously like to develop that playground just to meet all of their needs. And we could do something ourselves, but we know that the architect would help us develop a much better plan. Then again, a Buena Vista remodel and a Calderon remodel. Those are the different options. But again, we're not asking y'all to vote on options today. And that is the amount though that we'd be asking y'all to approve today so that we can work with the architect. Now, I know that I said a lot, but really at the end of the day, we'd engage the discussion. We'd invite the discussion of all the future of that area back there, and would like to answer any questions that you have about engaging the architects.
Board members? Mr. Smith?
You know, Tate, as you, us as a board, I'm say before, you know, as we look at the accomplishments over the past 6 years that I've been a board member, it's all been about creating a more sustainable, improved environment for kids. And you know, this taking our high school to that next level, and creating a safer environment, more conducive athletic facilities. I mean, that's just part of the deal. So I appreciate your observation. What is the architect expense? I missed it. I know it's in the agenda.
The total expense for the architect, it's a little bit over, right under 35,000.
Okay.
About 34 for doing all the renderings and the planning, the layout, and relocation.
And the estimated, if we decided to go do a full road at minimum as a starting point, that start point we would be proposing as far as date and completion time, and anything that would impact during construction, the kind of cadence, you haven't got that far putting all that stuff together.
No, sir, we haven't. We would ask the architect for a timeline, not in terms of start date, end date, but definitely a time span, whether it be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah. Without offering a bunch of disruption to that part of the campus, which there's not a lot back there, but there's things that extra. Anyway, for now, that's all I've got to.
I want to mention a couple of things. First of all, when I saw the plan, it looks great in regard to the traffic that is in front of the high school freshmen and, you know, that corner there with college, early college, and the community college that we have there. And then not too far from that is Lonnie Green. In the event of either a drastic event where we have vehicles parking there in the front, it makes it very difficult to evacuate students if there's a need. So I welcome an alternate road like that, but I also think if there's any cooperation between either city or county in regard to opening that road for future construction along with either city or county. Is there any, are there any talks in place right now?
Yes, sir. I did engage the leadership of the county because they had expressed an interest to develop the fairgrounds for different options. And we did talk about how we can have further discussions about how we could do something combined. And it could be at the end that we build a road and then dedicate it and the city agrees to maintain it. And it could be that there's some shared facilities in the future, depending what they do. So those talks are premature, but they have taken place. And what we like to do is develop a plan so that we can share with them what we think can happen that would benefit our students and benefit the community.
Okay, because my thinking is long-term, and then the other part of the question that I have is, we have great property at Cardwell, the old Cardwell. Well, we still have Cardwell there, soon to be the old Cardwell. It's prime property, and we have lots of room there to construct. If there's future needs for an elementary or even middle school, that I don't want to abandon that property and not have any future plans for it. Because there are some buildings that are very sustainable and that are already there in place. The science wing, library, and so forth. And lots of room to access that area. So I don't want to, let's forget that property and then, become property that we have to do away with, or try to sell. Those are just some thoughts. Anyone else? Shorefeld?
Yeah, I was just going to, I guess it's echoing Mr. Messa's stuff there, because I know at one time the county had approached us about trying to develop all that back there in conjunction to build a multi-use athletic complex. And then you kind of hit on it about if we build the road and then turn it over to the city. So that was going to be my question was, we put all that infrastructure, do we keep the road and it's private and PD doesn't get to patrol it, or we turn it over to the city and thus it falls under their jurisdiction for traffic violations and stuff like that, to keep people from blowing through there to cut between Main and Wildcat?
So my immediate recommendation would be probably in two parts. First, the way we drew the plan out, this is us doing it just to measure the space. The architect would play a huge part in just arranging the different fields to where it makes more sense for girls softball or boys baseball, access to restrooms for the tennis complex, etc. And the architect would also design the road in a way that would limit the speed so that when we do turn it over to the city, it's something that can be easily monitored for traffic violations and for access to Main Street and Wildcat, because I would recommend that we turn it over to the city. And of course, we have to engage them in their willingness to do this before we go and build it.
Anyone else?
So again, I just want to echo how I started. These are big decisions that we work with different consultants to come up with, but ultimately y'all have to vote on it. And I just appreciate all that discussion and discernment. So for now, we're just asking that you approve engaging the architect for this master plan.
Thank you, sir. Next item we have is item 8C. Discuss the process and options for the 2022-2023 San Felipe Del CISD school calendar by Dave Garcia.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Each year we come to present the process for our school calendars as well as options, so we can also get feedback from the board. This slide represents the committee members, which is teachers, also community members, business representatives, and parents, as well as non-voting members. We always start our meeting with the District Planning and Decision-Making Committee with some parameters that we always look into when establishing the calendar. The calendar must include a minimum of 187 teacher duty days, unless changed by the board, and 75,600 instructional minutes, which can include 5 days of professional development, which we get credit for 2,100 minutes, but this has to be during the instructional time, not before school starts. We also, in the past, have liked to include RTI planning training days, which counts for those waiver days. And then this year, because of the learning loss, House Bill 3 is providing something called the extended year and will add half-day formula funding in the summer for pre-K through 5th grade. But in order to take advantage of that funding, we have to have 180 days of instruction. We also look into creating 2 bad weather days in case they're needed. The Texas Education Code says that we have to start school the 4th Monday of August, but because we are a district of innovation, our school district can begin earlier than that requirement. So we implement the school starts the 2nd Monday in August. Teaching staff usually recommend to complete the first semester prior to the winter break. We mentioned the 4 staff development days. This is before school starts. We usually assign 3 work days. The 5 days of staff development waiver days that in the past have been used as the RTI days. By law, we have to honor Memorial Day, and the board always encourages to honor Martin Luther King and Veterans Day. As I was mentioning earlier, because of House Bill 3 additional school year funding, we do not only look at the 75,600 minutes, but we also have to have 180 days built into the calendar. We cannot include half days, only for 1 day can be included as a half day for those 180 days. This is a list of all the federal holidays. This does not mean that we're going to honor all these days, but this is what the committee looks at so that we can see all the federal holidays. Here we talk a little bit about what RTI is, how the principals meet with the cluster leaders or departments to disaggregate data, look at the benchmarks, have to move tiers for the students if they need additional interventions. And then also we use the RTI days for training so that we don't have to pull staff during the school year. In your, next to your desk there, we included the calendar option 1, a full calendar so that you can see it better. And we included the similar components for the calendars, which is July the 4th, holiday, Labor Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving break, November the 21st through the 25th, winter break, Martin Luther King, and spring break. And of course, that's always tentative, provided that the college also celebrates spring break during that week. Easter break. The new teacher start date is a similar component on both calendars, which is August the 1st. And then first day of school for students, August the 8th. Teacher work day on the May 26th, and then graduation on May 26th. Now this calendar, several teachers wanted to keep the RTI days. But in order to keep the RTI days, this means that, and to have the 180 days, this meant that we had to extend the teacher work days to 190.5 days, which that is different than calendar option 1. There were several committee members that were not in agreement, so they provided feedback so we can create a second option, and I'll go over it in just a minute. So the difference from the option 2 that I'm going to cover is that this option on your calendar 1 has RTI data planning days for September the 19th, October the 31st, February the 13th, and April the 3rd. It has 2.5 work days because on May the 26th, we would work half a day and then teachers would do the work day half a day so that then they wouldn't have to come back the following week. But like I mentioned, this calendar is 190 days for teacher work days. So the committee provided feedback and they said even though they enjoy the RTI days and they get a lot accomplished because they're looking at all their data, they do not want to work more than 187 days. So this was the second calendar option. So there's no RTI days. There is, we added a holiday in October because if we don't add these other 2 holidays, then we would end the year even earlier, which would affect the testing. Then winter break, we extended it to January the 2nd and made the workday on the 3rd. The observance of President's Day was included. The last day of school is the 25th and the workday the 26th. So this would be 187 total teacher workdays. So these are the 2 calendar options that are going to be sent to the staff to vote on. And at this time, if there's any additional feedback from the board that would like to include in these 2 calendar options.
Board members? Questions? No questions here.
Thank you. And next month, we'll bring the survey and the recommendation.
I think that's the important part that we wait for discussion amongst the groups, parents, teachers, and everyone else involved.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next report we have is item 8D, the Texas Child Health Access through Telemedicine Program, Sandra Hernandez, and Counselor San Felipe de los CISD counselors.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Rios, Mr. Mesa, members of the board. I'd like to invite my counselors here, Deborah Escamilla, Sandra Venegas, who's our intern, one of our interns, Monica Rivera, and Joelda Espinosa. They're here to join me in our presentation today. TCHAT stands for the Texas Child Health Access through Telemedicine. In 2019, the Texas Child Mental Health Consortium was created by the 86th Texas legislature to leverage the expertise and the capacity of the 13 state-funded health-related institutions of higher education in Texas. The goal of the consortium is to improve mental health and mental health care system for children and adolescents across the state. The TCHAT program creates and builds off existing telemedicine programs to assist public school districts in identifying mental health care needs and services across the state of Texas. Currently, San Felipe Del Rio CISD began its partnership with Texas Tech Health Science Center in August 2020 to offer counseling services and telepsychiatry to youth within our schools. And school personnel are guided in assessing and supporting and referring youth experiencing mental health challenges. So just to give you an idea, over the past couple of years since we've initiated the TCHAT program in our school district, in the 2020-2021 school year, TCHAT provided support to 96 students district-wide. This included 24 elementary students and 72 secondary students. At the end of January this year, 37 elementary students and 56 secondary students have been reported to be receiving T-Chat services. And this was only January. You see that this year we've had a tremendous increase in the number of referrals and the support through the T-Chat program. And I'm gonna guide you through the two charts that you see here, and you'll see the elementary chart. Working with Dr. Garza and Dr. Sarah Martin, they provided this resource to me to let us know what you see here in blue are the student cases that are now closed, and those that you see in yellow are active. You see that the campuses Ruben Chavita, North Heights, Garfield, and Dr. Lonnie Green pretty much lead in the number of students that they have that T-Chat is supporting them. At the secondary level, you'll see the secondary number of students that are receiving services. Del Rio Middle School, San Felipe Memorial Middle School pretty much surpassed all of the other schools, and you have Del Rio Freshman and Del Rio High School. So what I've done is I have invited our counselors, Deborah Scamilla, who is a guidance counselor at Ruben Chavita. I've invited Monica Rivera, who was assigned to San Felipe Memorial Middle School. And I have Joelda Espinosa, who is at the high school. And they're going to tell you a little bit about their work with Dr. Garza and the T-Chat program.
The referral process, that we're going to start out with the referral process. It's made usually by the school counselor. And the way that gets initiated can be during child study. It could be a teacher contacting the counselor, a parent contacting a counselor, something that the counselor observed. We would then, of course, contact the parent and explain the whole T-Chat process at length so that they really understand it. And then if they agree, we would go ahead and get consent on the actual T-Chat forms.
Once we receive the forms, we send those over to Dr. Garza, and then she assigns a therapist or someone to work with the child. That therapist or the psychologist will contact us, letting us know when they will be available, and we will schedule that first intake.
The first intake session is approximately 1.5 to 2 hours. It's held via telemedicine. In attendance, they'll have an LPC, which is a licensed practicing counselor, a psychiatrist, a parent guardian, the child, and the school counselor. A plan is created for the child at the end of the first intake session. The student plan includes 4 follow-up counseling sessions with the LPC at school and facilitated by the school counselor. Parent or guardian may attend the follow-up sessions if part of the student's plan includes family counseling.
If medicine is being prescribed, the psychiatrist also joins a follow-up session to check in with the child. In addition, the follow-up sessions last between 45 to 60 minutes, depending on the age of the child. The psychologist, LPC, and psychiatrist together work with the parent and the student to guide them during the follow-up session, and they update each other on their services and progress.
So what they've shared with you is the process, but what I'm inviting them to do now is asking them what results have they seen so far. So this is particularly why looking at the chart, we really wanted to know how was T-Chat working for them at their campuses.
This is Venegas and I, my intern counselor, here from Ruben Chavita, and we've been asked to share our experiences at the elementary level. And at this time, we had already been hearing since last year about the mental health possible spike that could be coming. Once students, actually all of our students were back in the building this school year, we did see that spike, and you'll see that as part of our numbers. Just from Chavita, we've had 24 students referred this school year, so that's just about a 6-month period. Those referrals, as I mentioned earlier, can happen during the child study process. Parent-teacher can contact one of the counselors. Also, I've even had a student seek help. So that is also another thing. Some different outcomes that we've had from the referrals is students have been diagnosed and treated for different types of anxiety, depression, adjustment disorder, ADHD. I've even had some students where the family comes to school and they have family counseling through the TCHAT program. Now, the majority, after the 5 sessions, the majority of our students at Ruben Chavira, this is at the elementary level, are recommended by our TCHAT mental health professionals to be placed in the 504 program so that they can receive some type of support at school and in the classroom. They've also referred back out to the pediatrician, to the child's pediatrician for further care, and also even to local agencies for further counseling, since TCHAT is only limited to the 5 counseling sessions. So we've seen, I know that it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it. I wanted to give you just 2 quick examples, being general, of course. When most think about 5, 6, 7-year-olds, right? Because we're at the elementary level, you would think they wouldn't need as much mental health support. But if you see our numbers, you know that we have needed that extra support. You know, especially when you think about, I've had 2nd graders this year that it was their first year stepping into the school building because of the pandemic. I have 5th graders that their last regular school year was from where they attended from August to May, was when they were in 2nd grade. So you can see where there was lack of social skills or the consistency. And so just one example, if we think about a younger student at the elementary level that was having some severe behavior issues or concerns in the classroom, of course, the teacher initiated a child study, right? That's the first thing that we always do at the elementary level. And through the child study, we were able to refer to TCHAT, where the child was diagnosed and treated. Now the child's behavior has tremendously improved, which positively impacts the child's education. And they were even suspecting possible speech development, but after the whole TCHAT process, even the child's speech became clearer. My second example, last one, I promise, is an upper elementary student who hadn't been in school since March of 2020. During that time, while they were online, had lost several family members to COVID. So at the beginning of this school year, when it was time to come back to school, the child was fearful, had some anxiousness about coming back to school. Some of it had to do with COVID, some of it not. The child was refusing to come back into the building. There were absences that were being created. And so we went ahead and initiated the TCHAT process. Through the TCHAT process, the child was diagnosed, was treated, is now in school daily, getting support that they need through the 504 program. So those are just a couple of quick examples of how TCHAT has impacted our school, at least. And Mrs. Venegas is going to share a little bit about how our parents have reacted to the TCHAT program, and also her experience as an intern with the TCHAT program.
We've had, I think, a positive feedback from parents as far as for the TCHAT program. In the past, when parents have wanted to seek mental health treatments or options here in Del Rio, they've had to wait weeks, sometimes even months, to get appointments or travel to San Antonio, which would require them to take a day off. Students would be out of school. So through the TCHAT process, we're able to, we're able to hold those sessions a lot quicker than they normally would, and we're able to do it in school. So parents don't have to take time off to take their child to the appointment, and we're seeing them, getting in a lot quicker. And then parents also have the option, if they want to have a session that they want to be included in, they can have the session at home. Can you guys hear me? Okay. And then the TCHAT service is also free, so that's also a great benefit to that. And as an intern, this is my first year in this position, and it's been really great to be part of this process. We get to sit, whoever the referring counselor was, we get to sit in on the intake. And so, we get to see the child as a whole. We get to see the home perspective from the parent. The parent gets to hear our perspective from the school, and the therapist and the psychologist gets to see everything. And then the child feels cared for. They got all these people working together for him or her. And then for our younger kids that can't be left alone, we're able to sit in with them and assist them. And so in collaboration with a therapist, we're able to continue some of those strategies that they're learning in therapy. We're able to continue them in class so that we can, they can be effective. And so it's been a pleasure working with Dr. Garza and the rest of her team. They've been very helpful, very easy to contact, and, always are there to support us.
I'm here representing San Felipe Memorial Middle School, and I'm tempted to say ditto because they explained everything super, super well. In the 2 years that we've had this implemented at the 6th grade, we've had over 50 referrals. That's 50 families we've been able to impact. These students, like they said, receive up to 5 sessions with the initial intake, including the parent or guardian, the therapist, and a psychiatrist. In the middle school, and elementary, they kind of have to stay there. We're lucky that we're able to kind of set them up and allow them to have their meeting privately. Darrow tends to have limited resources, but TChat has changed that. After 5 sessions, if there's continued care, the therapist can reach out and they coordinate with local doctors or counseling services. I've even had Dr. Hannah reach out to work with BCFS and with the family as a whole. Finding, coordinating, and traveling for these services can be daunting, but the ease of referring students and at no cost has taken a lot of the burden off of the parents. It's, we get to speak with them, we talk to them, we can answer their questions, and TChat has been amazing in keeping that communication with us as well. One referral that stood out for me was a student who she was very anxious. We had just started the process. We had online school available and in-person school. She was only online, but she would cry through all the Zooms. It was very, very difficult for her, but it's the same, she lost family. It was very hard for her to be with groups of people, even if it was online. She was able to get help. They were able to prescribe her and diagnose. And she actually, the rest of her year went very smoothly. We were able to put her under 504 as well and offer those, make sure that she had the services she needed as she continued. The feedback that they provide to us, it's been vital in making sure that our students are receiving the services. We're able to even share that if there's a child study, whatever we find, we're able to share because they do give us diagnosis, written diagnosis.
And I wanted to give some feedback from Darrell High School in the secondary, what we've heard as counselors and what we've seen from parents and their feedback. So if you remember on the first slide, one of the goals of TChat is to improve the mental health services for our children and adolescents. So with that, parents are extremely impressed with the TChat services. Improving these mental health services also means convenience. So if you've had children in teenage years and you being a parent in a high school, you know that parents and high school students don't always agree, right? But one thing they do agree on is the convenience of TChat. So when there is mental health services that are required, and as counselors, we bring up and refer TChat to the parent and to the student, they are very impressed with this could be telemedicine, that they can use this therapy through their phones or through the computer at their convenience. And the flexibility of the timeframes, just like the other counselors mentioned, they are very flexible with times as well. Some parents say, well, I can do it during my lunch break, I could attend a session, and even after 3:30. So that is very convenient for parents as well. And also, at first you may think, well, maybe some parents may be a little hesitant because it's not in person and it is telemedicine. But in reality, when they see their child want this and say, yes, I want to do this, I'm comfortable with it being through telemedicine, they're like, okay, sign me up. I'm ready to do this. So it's a great support system, and we have seen several success stories and just collaboration. So, one parent I know that I spoke to in the very beginning, she was outsourcing on her own through her insurance, looking for a psychiatrist. And when we spoke, I said, we have these T-chat services where you can speak to an LPC, a psychiatrist, and it's actually free. And within a week, you're going to get a call and you're going to get an appointment scheduled. And, she was just mind blown. She was like, I've been searching and it's taken me about 3 months and so forth. So she was, very appreciative. And, I like to say that T-chat is really closing the gap of where there was a need with the mental health services. It is convenient, it's very effective, and it's free for our students and our parents. Thank you.
So I want to thank these wonderful ladies for their work with the T-Chat program. As you can see, it has impacted their students and the campus that they work for immensely. I do want to reiterate that the T-Chat program is free of charge. This is not a grant. This is free. From the state of Texas has placed this on the consortium. So this is part of what they do. They've networked with all of the health science centers across the state of Texas. We work with Texas Tech at El Paso, and so we've worked with Dr. Sarah Martin, we've worked with Dr. Hannah Garza, and they have just been here. The ladies can call them, and they will get a response right away. So they had wonderful service, and you've heard firsthand how much the parents really appreciate the service that they've been able to provide for them. Are there any questions that you have for any one of us?
Mr. Smith?
A couple of questions. First of all, congratulations. Sounds like y'all are having a great impact at a time which needed the most, right? Which is unfortunate, but it's what it is. Can we go back to that active case?
Sure.
That active case disparity, I guess, at the grade school level, is that you warrant that to promotion, or you think there's just that much more activity at Ruben Shavira, or what?
No, I think that there is a need at each one of our elementary campuses. We visited with the principals after I got the initial report of the disparity. And since then, the principals have worked with the counselors to just make them more aware of how we have to make sure parents know of that service. Because we all have, all elementary campuses have cases. But reminding the parent, encouraging them to go through the paperwork, to be open to the need, it's a work. So I applaud the Ruben Shavira counselors and the intern for going through that process. And I'm sure that the next report that we provide to the board, you will see all the other elementary campuses probably soon, because the need is everywhere. There's no specific campus.
Okay, so it's a promotional issue.
Absolutely.
And so lessons learned from Ruben Shavira, you're already taking efforts to try to spread that across the other campuses.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Great work. Exciting stuff, especially in this time. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, Mrs. Webb?
I just want to commend every single counselor throughout the district for what you're doing at every campus. Being an ex-counselor, I know exactly what you are referring and talking about. Working with the health science centers, that gives us an extra edge to help our students. And I know that there are many times that parents refer students, teachers refer students, But students themselves, you mentioned, refer themselves, and I have seen that many times. They have nobody else to talk to, so they come to you as a counselor. So I applaud you for what you're doing, and I applaud the parents that are reaching out. And like Mr. Smith said, sometimes it's just getting the word out to our parents that this service is available to them. And sometimes the teachers themselves will see things in the classroom, and they will come and mention, especially when there is a death in the family, and we have seen so many through COVID, that these students are looking for someone, but that separation anxiety, they don't want to come to school. They're afraid that if they come to school, they're going to lose somebody else. So I applaud every single counselor for every effort that you're trying to do to take care of the students on your campuses and throughout the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Ms. Roosevelt?
So you said that the graph has been fixed. That's completely inaccurate right now, right? Because there's 2 schools that are blanked on there.
That's the data that we received from Dr. Garza from
At the end of January, yes, this is the data that was shared with me at the end of January.
Okay, because I know it's wrong. And then secondly, has administration put out a quota demand to to their principals that counselors must sign up X amount of kids per 6 weeks?
Well, so the answer is absolutely not. That is no, I'm not going to say no, absolutely not. But I think that everybody needs to make families aware of the service. I know that the board in previous years has always impressed upon us about mental health. We tried hiring a counselor at the high school, and then this came along, and initially it was just a service for the high school for secondary students, and then the program heard our concerns, and we said, hey, look, you really need help at the elementary, and they opened it. Now, based on the numbers that we achieved at the last principals meeting, I did encourage all principals to make sure that everybody was open to the service and make that aware of the parents. But as far as saying quota, no, sir, that's just really simple.
I just want to comment again, what a wonderful program, because I can think of so many students that fell within the cracks, did not reach their potential, dropped out of school, caused discipline problems, did not get their diploma, and there's many factors that come into play, especially nowadays, as Mr. Smith mentioned. We're going through, these 2 years that unprecedented, had never happened before. Yes, there's a lot of loss of family members, and there's a need for it. And so, thank you so much for working with our children to make sure they reach their potential.
Thank you.
Next report we have is a CTE Month Presentation by Mr. Gonzalez.
Good evening, Dr. Rios, members of the board. CTE Month is celebrated across the country every year and is dedicated to exploring and learning about the amazing opportunities and benefits of career and technical education, or also known as CTE. February is CTE Month, and this year's theme is Celebrate Today, Own Tomorrow. In our school district, the opportunities for students in CTE continues to grow with the additional innovative and specialty courses, additional industry certifications, competitiveness, unique projects, and additional CTE dual credit courses. There are student opportunities to develop skills, be creative, become college and career ready. In CTE, students will showcase their skills with opportunities to compete at the district, state, national, and even world arenas. Our CT family is made up of 43 dedicated CT teachers. Some of them are in attendance tonight in 6 different campuses, locations, and a committed support staff, and over 3,200 CT students. Mrs. Barrera, our CT coordinator, will now highlight some CT program information.
Good evening. A career cluster is a grouping of careers based on similar skills. We are proud that our district offers courses in 12 of the 14 recognized state career clusters. We have a very large CTE program with 3,230 students in 6th through 12th grades, and 90% of all DRHS and ECHS students are not just enrolled in one CTE course, but they are all taking a coherent sequence of courses, which means that they're building on knowledge learned in the prerequisite course and getting better preparation for their post-secondary plans. Industry-based certifications are a critical component of CCMR, which is factored into accountability ratings for the campuses and district overall. We currently offer 46 different IBCs, including our 2 newest certifications in the education and law clusters. Students are given the opportunity to enroll in 17 different articulated courses, which means that when they will earn college credit, which will be held in escrow and awarded upon the completion of 6 credit hours at Southwest Texas Junior College or upon enrollment at the Art Institute. They can also choose to enroll in dual credit courses, which automatically award college credit at either Southwest Texas Junior College or Angelo State University. The CTE program currently offers 26 high school courses for dual credit, which is equivalent to 60 college courses or 206 college hours. After school, students can continue to sharpen their skills through the many student organizations in CTE. In these organizations, students have the opportunity to learn more and compete at the state, national, and even world levels. Here to explain more about one specific student organization is CTE counselor Carolina Cardenas.
Good evening. I am so fortunate that I get to oversee our 20 CTE ambassadors. In order to be selected as a CTE ambassador, a student must show leadership qualities, have a positive attitude, and most importantly, have completed a series of CTE courses in a specific pathway. Ambassadors are hand-selected by their capstone course teacher to represent and promote their program within our school district and in many community events. This year alone, they showcase their programs at the Ruben Chavira Elementary Career Day and at the Del Rio Freshman School CTE Fair this month. During the fairs, the students' ambassadors get to speak to other fellow students in our district about the amazing things they're learning and everything that their program has to offer. The ambassadors also serve as a voice to advocate for their fellow classmates at our biannual CTE Advisory Board meeting. You may have seen them earlier here, helping with our earlier here, and we still have some ambassadors here now. Another exciting project that we have through CTE is our college and career awareness in CTE. This is one of our main priorities. And so we did purchase a program within CTE called Zello, and we have conducted an outreach throughout our district. We started with Del Rio High School within our CTE classes, showcasing this Zello program. And so within Zello, a student is able to log on, discover their interests, learn about colleges, compare different universities, take a college tour, and it's all at their fingertips. And include this, a new program, within this program, now parents even have access to Zello as well. We also conducted presentations at Del Rio Middle School and San Felipe Memorial Middle School. Another thing that we started is our elementary school outreach. This is brand new this school year, and we just felt it was very important to reach out to our elementary campuses. Our goal is to introduce our CTE clusters to elementary students. This year, I have presented to all fifth grade classes at Lamar Elementary, North Heights, and Buena Vista Elementary School. The presentations start with an icebreaker, and then the students break up into clusters based off their interest. Our goal is that students will develop self-awareness while learning about our CTE programs. Another exciting thing is that our Ready, Set, Teach students, high school students, are also conducting their own outreach during their visits to the elementary schools and middle schools. And so they are also conducting activities and speaking with students within our district about our different career clusters. And now I'll turn it over to Mr. Gonzalez, who has some exciting news about a new project we have.
As you well know, you've seen our food truck. CT administration continues the tradition of expanding programs and real-world experiences. So the unveiling of the food truck was actually done tonight. So again, this is a project that has been going on for multiple years due to the pandemic. This was an old RV truck that had been sitting in the bus barn for multiple years. I contacted some of my CT instructors to actually review the components of the multiple RVs that were there. And we were able to take components from different RVs and create one. It was in a computer library. It had carpet. It had old computers in there. We totally gutted it. And this is an example of where the things have been happening. And you'll see the transition, the transformation of our CT food truck, which is actually a culmination of multiple CT programs working together. There at the CT Center, we had, of course, the construction, the electrical, the HVAC, the welding, the automotive, the STEM, even the media program got involved in actually helping with the design of the wrap. So again, there was accumulation of multiple departments within CTE. So again, this will be the largest food truck in Del Rio, and this will be the largest food truck actually for the region. There are few food trucks that are available nationwide within CTE. So this is another opportunity for students to actually learn culinary, to learn marketing, to learn finances within the program. So again, just like the food truck industry is very popular today, we wanted to actually get them involved. So again, it had been a project of ours to always pushing them, and we have several of our CT teachers here that actually, and their students that actually were day in and day out trying to complete. I know due to the pandemic, we actually did delayed it a little bit, but if you have not seen, if you didn't tour, we'll definitely have an opportunity. The whole purpose is to actually showcase the district and showcase CT school-wide. So thank you for the board, and thank you for the support of administration. Again, this is a project that has been going on for a while, but again, I think it's a good representation and marketing tool for the district and CTE.
Thank you so much for everything that everyone does. I appreciate the support of your staff here, and showcasing your food truck was excellent because we all took advantage of the free food, and it was great. And the students are awesome, and all the work that everybody does is just unbelievable. I was to San Angelo this Thursday, and I invited some of the San Angelo people to come and see our program because They were kind of bragging about theirs, but they actually go somewhere else. You know, they don't have it in school like we do. So, I mean, we have our own campus, fantastic staff and students that really take advantage of participating in all the certifications. And so thank you so much for everything you do for our students. Next report we have is item F, 8F, Planning Protocol Presentation.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. Tonight's presentation is on the new planning protocol initiative that was started back in November. During tonight's presentation, I'll be able to share with you a schedule of the teacher planning that takes place at all elementary campuses with their principal or assistant principal, the summary of the 3 hours, what the structure looks like, actual pictures of teachers during planning, and where do our students go during that time? So we'll be able to share that tonight. First of all, when this first started on November the 2nd, it did take a few weeks to change the master schedule because we needed to ensure that while teachers were given a 3-hour block of planning, our students were actually going into activities that were quality and that were actually part of what they normally would do in a teacher classroom, but we relieved the teacher of those duties. So on every Tuesday morning at all 8 elementary campuses, your 5th grade teachers from 7:30 to 10:30 are planning. From 12 to 3 on every Tuesday, you will see 2nd grade teachers in planning. On Wednesdays, it's the 4th grade teachers, the clusters, in the morning, and in the afternoon, it's the 1st grade teachers. And on Thursday of every week, the 3rd grade cluster plans in the morning, and our kinder teachers plan in the afternoon. So you'll see that the schedule is very structured. Teachers know when to go, the hours are exactly the same. What does fluctuate is the content. We plan on a 10-day cycle, a 2-week cycle. So for instance, if this past Tuesday or tomorrow, if 5th grade is planning for ELA, then then in the afternoon, they'll be planning, the 2nd grade will be planning for math. Then next week they would swap. When we first started, our principals for many weeks did both plannings. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they were running the ELA planning and the math planning for consistency, training our cluster leaders, what was the expectation, and so forth. Now, since January, they've actually swapped. So principals take over the ELA, and assistant principals, for the most part, are taking over the math. We've been fortunate enough to work with NIET now for 2 years. Our first year, they started talking to us just about simplicity. Were our lessons clear? Were our students engaged? And did they have any ownership as to their learning? That's all we did for an entire year. This year, we've gone into this actual planning protocol. Effective planning leads to great, rigorous lessons in the classroom. But we've also been fortunate enough to partner up with the Region Center, and we have a team of 4 representatives who continue to come and visit. They sit in our planning and they coach. Very quickly, what does it look like? You'll see the minutes on the side, 25 minutes where they establish the need. The principal comes in, they talk about the purpose. What are we planning for? This is when they're looking at data, at walkthroughs. Maybe they went in and didn't see the student engagement. Maybe they need to talk about other concerns that they're seeing. It's not always benchmark data. People think it's just that kind, but it's not. It's also what are we seeing in the classrooms as a whole. They do spend 65 minutes or so obtaining new learning. This is real critical time. This is the training that we just had with the region. What is the TEAC actually asking us to teach the student? And we can all read, but inferring what it's actually asking us to do at the rigorous level is what this part of the planning is about. The discussions are just wonderful discussions that teachers are having because they have the time. They're going to discuss whether a TEK should be retaught as a whole group or as individual with a small group. They have very good quality discussions. The next part of their 3-hour block is what we call developing new learning. This is the critical part because during this time, the teachers plan for 2 weeks. So tomorrow, they'll be planning for the next 2 weeks. We have all the documents in place, they have all the resources they need, and in just a moment, we'll show you some pictures of what it is we're talking about. This is when they actually say, we've always struggled with area and perimeter. And then they talk, what can we do to engage our students so that it's no longer that big of a concern? What are we doing about it, in other words? So here is where you see a lot of the how. How are we going to deliver the lesson so that more students understand? Then the last 15 minutes, we talk about application and evaluation. And what that means is principals or assistant principals will say, last week, you planned to do this lesson. How did it work in your classroom this week? So that consistency of what did we plan and what did we see is continual. Are we transferring the planning to actual learning? I'm going to show you some different slides of different clusters across the district planning and point out a few things. This is our 5th grade cluster. They were planning math that day. You'll see that Mrs. Rubio was here as the principal. Will always be an administrator. You'll see the big whiteboard or TV screen that's here. Every campus has some kind of screen available. In this particular session, you'll see laptops. Those are the new devices that the board approved for all our teachers in the district to obtain. You'll see a lot of resources, these papers, they're allowed to bring everything because they're spreading out for 3 hours and they're planning for 2 weeks. Here's an example of Lamar. In the top one again, you'll see the whiteboard. They're displaying everything. They're having very, very intense discussions about what it is that's coming up and how they're going to plan it. You'll see down here at the bottom, the principal, Mrs. Oka. She's pointing to something. They're all looking at her. There's top quality discussions. Again, you're going to see lots of resources on the screen, and you're going to see those teacher devices where they all have their resources. Ruben Chavita, this particular planning room, you'll see the assistant principal who's sitting over here monitoring her. She's actually facilitating the whiteboard, everything that's coming up here on the board. And then you see the teachers with their own devices. I do want to mention that most of these rooms have very intense data walls. So they're always looking at their goal. How do we do? And then what is our goal? And the talks are continuous. Here we have Dr. Lonnie Green. You'll see 2 different grade levels. And it's the same room, but look at the flexibility of the teachers. In this 5th grade cluster here, you'll see that they're all individually sitting at a table. Each one of them has their computer. The whiteboard is over here. You can't see it it's opposite from this corner. Then you see a younger cluster where they're sitting in partners. Everybody's still collaborating. All the data is still on the wall. Over here, you have the assistant principal who's again facilitating what's being shown on the screen that's over to the right side. North Heights Elementary, here we have a kinder cluster. Again, you'll see their laptops. You'll see all their resources. They have binders of information that they carry with them and they bring and they actually use it as they're developing these quality lessons. The discussions about what are we going to teach and how are we going to teach it are very different. It's only been 13 weeks. And every principal in the room can tell you, 13 weeks ago when we started this process, it was a little daunting. 3 hours, And now the 3 hours fly by. Teachers know what to do. The discussions are deep. We're seeing the planning in the classrooms during observations. We're growing. We recently had a training last Monday with our cluster leaders, principals, and assistant principals in the region, and it was very powerful. The conversations that our cluster leaders are able to facilitate now are very powerful. Dr. Fermin Calderon, you'll see Ms. Mercier there. Again, they have their whiteboard over on this side, and everybody will sit around here. I've been to other sessions where they're all at their individual table, but they're all doing the same thing, collaborating, discussing. So now that you know that the teachers are being pulled out once a week for 3 hours by grade level, they're meeting with their principal or assistant principal. The question is, where are the students? Well, what are the students doing? And that was very important because it was important to our teachers that when their students would be pulled out of class, that they were actually doing either extracurricular, that they wouldn't have to take more time out of their day to do, or that it was instructional and rigorous. I do want to point out that every picture in this PowerPoint are your students. Computer time. We all know about computer time. Unfortunately, in past years, the teacher would have to allocate 2 to 3 times a week from her instructional day for 30 minutes to take the kids to the computer lab. Now it's done during this time in many areas. You'll see those programs that we brought to the board, Education Galaxy, Lexia, AR. Those are the different programs that they're working on during this time. The AR, I will tell you, has doubled in usage just from the beginning of the year to today. And we can definitely say it's because the students actually have time to do it now. Computer lessons in the classroom. The classrooms are empty now because they go to a planning room. So you can see that we can utilize those classrooms, which are rich environments. And for instance, here's a classroom, and here's the student on his Chromebook, and he's engaged in some kind of activity. But if you can look at those eyes, he's engaged. Over here, you always have an adult in these classrooms, and here's an example of an adult helping out a student, not the teacher, the support staff. They also go to library time. Library time is now not just 30 minutes. Some of these students can go multiple times. You'll see here, again, an instructional support staff is helping the students. They might be doing some kind of assignment, like in this bottom picture, or they're collaborating here. But if you look at these smiles, our students look happy. They look like they're collaborating. These weren't posed. Peter Ojeda was able to help us go out and take pictures at various campuses, and we wanted some really just natural action shots, and these are our students. Here's the accelerated reading time that they can do, whether it's in the computer lab or whether it's on their Chromebook. You'll see this little girl is engaged with her Chromebook. You'll see the student appears about to enter his ID number on this screen, probably to take a test. And then you see one who's just reading. Nothing to do with the test. He is just having some quality reading time. The Delro Caris lessons. Before this, teachers were asked to find time during their day to do the Delro Caris lessons. With this new planning time, the counselors actually are scheduled in to do the lessons in the classroom. Here you have Ms. Debbie Escamilla at Ruben Chavita, and over here, I believe this is Ms. Monica Reese, the counselor doing a Delro Caris lesson. Total engagement. Hands are in the air in both pictures. They also go to music. I'd like to point out, look at the many, many different instruments that the students are exposed to with their music teachers. Over here, at the bottom and at the top. Students engaged here, again, in their instruments, or in even learning how to read music you'll see that here they're being instructed on actual notes. Students even go to art during this time. You'll see here that this teacher was working with teachers on vocabulary, the word sculpture, it's on the board, and you'll see here that these two students are actually creating a sculpture. Down at the bottom, something's on the board here. I couldn't exactly make out what it is, but it looks like a drawing that the students are trying to mimic at their table. Small group settings, all students engaged. Of course, we have our traditional PE classes 3 times a week, so as often as we could fit it into the 3-hour block. It's fitted in there, and that's just, the teachers would still have a conference time, and they would still go during the week, but even the PE classes are engaged. Just some more pictures of students and teachers. This is a summary. We wanted to present what the teachers have been doing since November 2nd with their new 3-hour block. Provide some information as to what the 3-hour block does look like, what's happening during that time, and then also give you an idea of where the students are going during that time. Are there any questions?
I have one. I went to, Dr. Rios and I went to the North Heights, and excellent planning there, great. But my question has to do with, with this need of finding substitutes. What happens when the teacher is out? Is the lesson plan there for someone to follow? If there's a teacher that is absent, the planning has already occurred.
The planning in the planning or the planning for the classroom? If a teacher is out, she must leave planning for the classroom.
Yeah, if they plan for 2 weeks, in that time period, somebody's absent.
Yes.
You have a substitute come in.
Yes. The lesson plans, the teacher, when they're absent, will always leave the lessons for the time that they're going to be out. The only time, Mr. Mesa, that sometimes we have to help each other is if somebody's out for 2 weeks for an illness, then the cluster comes together. Somebody will run the copies, they plan together, so everybody in the cluster knows exactly what they're going to be doing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so it's more collaborative.
I just want to make sure that, as far as the lesson planning is there, in case something happens and the teacher's out.
Yes, sir.
To follow up.
And this just ensures, since the entire team has the same lesson plan.
What I saw was excellent, again, very good planning. Resources were there, the school leader was there, and everybody's contributing to the lesson plan. And the teachers, of course, familiarizing themselves with what's actually happening.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Next item we have is item number 9 on the agenda, consent agenda. One, action will approve all items on the consent agenda. If there's an item that needs to be pulled out, please let me know, board members. At this time, Mrs. Gonzalez, if you could do the donations for us.
Life Touch National School Studios, $771.60 to Del Rio High School Student Council. Garfield Elementary received the following donations. Nanette Flores, $80 value, 3-pack soda, candy bags and cookies. Veronica Robles, $10 value, 2 cases of water. Malcolm Air Force Base, $800 value, toys for families. Carmen Torches, $12 value, 3 cases of water. Cardwell Elementary received the following donations. Viola Guadiana, gifts, clothes, and toys for 1 student, $250 value. Component maintenance, 150 toys for students, $1,000 value. Component maintenance, Thanksgiving basket for 1 family, $150 value. Del Rio Police Officers Association, 10 jackets, $150 value. Laughlin Air Force Base, toys, $850 value. Amistad Physical Therapy Center, gifts, clothes, and toys for 1 family, $250 value. Speedy Cash, gives clothes and toys for one child, $125 value. Vanessa Salas and Rafael Torres, photographer, gives clothes and toys for one family, $300 value. Del Rio Christian Fellowship gives clothes and toys for one family, $250 value. Havana Family Practice gives clothes and toys for 3 families, $880 value. Lisa Rodriguez gives clothes and toys for one family, $300 value. Jessica Longa gives clothes and toys for one family, $100 value. Ashley Furniture gives clothes and toys for one family, $350 value. Juanita Mauricio gives clothes and toys for one family, $150 value. United States Border Patrol Federal Sector gives clothes and toys for 12 families from Adopted Family Project, $2,500 value. American GI Forum gives clothes and toys for 3 families, $360 value. Also, Exploring Paths Incorporated donated 800 gratitude workbooks, $5,000 value to Del Rio Cares. Starbucks donated travel coffee station, $19.78 value. $19.78 value to Del Rio travel station. Ivan Morales, one jacket, $35 value to Blended Academy. Marlene Soto, purchases and water, $10 value to Cardwell Elementary. Luis Barrientos, 8 backpacks, $80 value to Dr. Cardwell Elementary. Joshua Everfelt, 6 $10 McDonald's gift cards, $60 value to Dr. Cardwell Elementary. Home Depot Del Rio, 17 cases of hand sanitizer, $848.80 value to maintenance department. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Gonzalez. As always, we're grateful for donations from individuals or businesses, again, to help us with the different programs throughout the district. Again, thank you for all the donations. At this time, if there's an item that needs to be pulled out, questions, there's some purchase orders, including the one that Dr. Rios spoke about the future plan for the high school access loop. And I have a question, I guess, to Israel or Dr. Rios regarding item number 3, or G3. Consideration to approve a contract over $5,000 in a purchase order over $25,000 with A.E. Hiller and Sons in the amount not to exceed $409,380. Sustainability for Buena Vista parking lot expansion. My question is, when I looked at the different vendors that submitted a quote, I didn't, first of all, recognize the name if he has done some work for us. And secondly, I was amazed at the difference in quote from large amounts. So I did read that they were from Eagle Pass, which is, they're fine, they're neighboring, but the amount was huge when I compared it to other vendors. Dr. Rios?
Yes, sir. They're a very experienced company. They did a whole lot of the foundation work at the new elementary school. They've had a lot of projects. They've grown, they've expanded to areas, but they're a well-established firm in Eagle Pass and have done some work in Del Rio. Most recently, they're at Seneca Hills Elementary.
So it's a subcontract.
As a subcontract, yes.
And if you look at the paperwork, I mean, it's so different. I mean, the difference is huge. I'm talking about not $5,000, but like $40,000. In some cases more than that. And so it kind of surprised me, like, are they going to have enough to be able to make the project work?
Yes.
But they've done some work and they're reliable. Anyone else? We're good. Okay. With that being said, I'll ask for a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Motion made by Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Motion carries. Now, motion for the consent agenda. We go into administration, item 10A. Administration consideration for the board president to appoint the 2022 San Felipe Del Rios Consolidated Independent School District Strategic Plan Steering Committee. Sandra Edmonds.
Good evening once again, Mr. Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, I am bringing forward this agenda item. Part of the 2022 strategic planning process is to engage community stakeholders such as educational partners, business leaders, teachers, parents, and students, and other members of the broader community to provide the strategic direction for the school district. Because it will be facilitated by the Region 13 staff, the steering committee will meet over the course of 2 days to create the beliefs, the vision, and a mission statement for the district. The steering committee, the strategic planning steering committee, will include 7 trustee-appointed community members, 1 per trustee, 3 elementary staff members, 2 middle school staff members, 2 high school staff members, 3 elementary parent members, 2 middle school parent members, 2 high school parent members, and 3 11th and 12th grade student representatives. It should be noted that the representative group, at least for the most part, are going to be representatives that are going to be chosen from the town hall meetings that will be conducted, the 3 town hall meetings in the district. Besides that, it'll be the community representatives chosen by the board, and then the students that will be selected by the high school principal. You have attached to this agenda item a copy of the calendar of events as well. Are there any questions that you have for me?
Board members? Dr. Rios?
I just wanted to add, Mr. Mesa, that a few years ago, we had the same process as we looked at different programs that we wanted to consider and establish. There was a whole lot of real good participation that we were able to define our programs, not only in terms of construction, but in terms of instruction. Now, here in the second go-around, it's all about innovation. We're not talking about construction. It's all about instructional programs and how they envision a graduate being prepared at Del Rio High School, obviously starting from kindergarten all the way through high school. So it's exciting. It's a good time to have this conversation. We don't want to come out of this pandemic not having prepared for the future. So I'm excited about it. We're asking the board members to approve makeup of the committee. And in that makeup, again, you all will be nominating 1 community member. So we hope that you'll participate. It'll make the conversation richer, and hopefully the outcome and plans for the future a lot stronger.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. Sandra, is there a deadline for the appointment?
We would like to have the nominations by the end of this week if possible, so that we would provide ample time to communicate to those that are nominated for the first meeting that will happen in March.
So by the end of the week, from each
Yes,
board
sir.
member?
But if you don't get one till the middle of next week, it's okay too.
Yes.
Okay. Recommendation, please?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from board members?
Okay. It is a recommendation from the administration that the board president approve the appointment of the 2022 Strategic Planning Steering Committee and its membership as presented.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Amy Haynes. Is there a second to the motion? Mr. Orfeld, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Next item we have is item 14A. Human Resources Discussion Possible Action to Approve Employee Job Descriptions and Evaluation Forms.
Good evening again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. In your board packet, you see the job description for an ESSER funding specialist. Administration is asking for this new position, which will report directly to the Chief Financial Officer in order to assist in the compliance and implementation of the district's ESSER funding applications, amendments, and compliance reporting. Any questions?
I have one. What is the length of the period for the ESSER grant?
2025? 24.
Okay. All right. Just want to get an idea. Anyone, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, my question is directly related. Is this like a temporary position or is this a permanent position that you're got?
No, Mr. Smith, just for the 3-year period. Now, within that time, I don't want to scare off any applicants, but during that time, there might be other opportunities within the district, but definitely just 3-year.
And it is funded through.
So right now, we're just going to deal with the job description, the evaluation,
Yes,
and then compensation plan will be tied to that as well.
yes.
So without any further questions, recommendation,
It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the employee job description evaluation form as discussed.
with the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Mr. Smith, seconded by Mrs. Webb. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We go on to item 14B, consideration to approve updates to the 2021-2022 district compensation plans. Okay, Garcia.
Yes, sir. In your packet, we have some recommendations that we want to recommend for update the 2021-2022 district compensation plan, which includes on the administrative professional pay plan, we would be including the ESSER funding specialist under pay grade 4. Also, in your packet, we included to add for the after-school program, and this is based on available funds. Pay for teacher, instructional aides and library manager, tutor, 60+ hour tutor degree, parental aid, and transportation. And again, this would be for the after-school program. And next to your computer, we have another recommendation that was brought today during cabinet. Under miscellaneous per hour, we would like to increase the extra duty pay for teachers who provide tutoring program after school, Saturday attendance, labs, in service. And this is all for mitigation of learning loss as well as for our paraprofessionals. So the extra duty pay for professionals would be $40 and for paraprofessionals, it would be $19. Any questions on any of those changes or compensation?
Questions? I guess I have a question. It's asking Ms. Webb, on the cafeteria workers, was there an increase from previous year? Cafeteria workers, managers,
Increase for,
No, sir.
cafeteria.
They got the same percentage increase that everybody else.
and they're not included in here because we didn't have, they're not going to be part of the after-school program.
Okay. Anyone else? Recommendation, please.
It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve updates to the 2021-2022 district compensation plans as presented.
With the recommendation from the administration, I will entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the time is 8:14 p.m. There being no other items on the agenda. We're going to go into closed session pursuant to 551.074 and 551.071, also 551.071. the Texas Education Code, if there's an item that needs to be approved, it will be approved upon reconvening into open session. We're now in closed session. Okay, the time is 9:21 p.m. We're going to reconvene into open session. No action was taken in executive session. We're down to item 18A, consideration to approve the personnel report to include the following: new hires, district vacancies, retirements, resignations. Ade Garcia.
Yes, good evening. It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the following new personnel: Laura Jenkins, third grade teacher for Buena Vista Elementary; Candy Jones, special education teacher for Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary; Mariana Rios Olguin, second grade teacher for Ruben Chavira Elementary; Sendel Hernandez, music teacher for Del Rio High School; and Rachel Hinman, English practical writing teacher for Del Rio High School.
You've heard the recommendation from administration. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, consideration to approve the position of librarian for Robert Bobby Barrera Elementary STEM magnet at De Garcia.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Luann Viesca for the position of librarian for Robert Bobby Barrera.
For the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Webb. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
So I got a question. What am I missing?
Librarian.
Yeah, it's twice. My approval is for one, but it's like it's twice on the agenda.
Oh. We're okay with it?
First item was for the teacher, the second item was for the librarian.
I got confused. I'm square.
Have you?
I'm good, yeah.
You're good, okay.
Sorry.
So the motion is carries unanimously for item B. Item C, consideration of possible action pursuant to Chapter 2254 of the Texas Government Code regarding retention of Pearson Legal, PC and Schumann Lopez Hoffer and Adelstein LLP as contingent fee counsel to handle litigation and any other dispute resolution processes and procedures regarding property claims against the district's insurers and all related parties arising out of damages caused by hail, wind, storms on or around April 11, 2020 and April 28, 2021. Dr. Rios.
As discussed, closed session, this item requires a motion from the board member. It's been brought to you all twice before with different corrections necessary. Bring the same item back. Somebody on the board will make the motion.
Mr. Mesa?
Yes, Mr. Orfeld.
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the retention of Pearson Legal PC and Schulman Lopez Hoffer and Adelstein LLP as contingent fee counsel to handle litigation and any other dispute resolution processes and procedures concerning property claims against the district's insurers, and all related parties arising out of damages caused by hail, wind, storms occurring on or around April 11th, 2020 and April 28th, 2021.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the motion from Mr. Orfeld. Is there a second, Mr. Smith? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item D, consideration and possible action to authorize Superintendent Aldo Rios to review, approve, and sign the board meeting minutes regarding February 21st, 2022. Meeting once such minutes are typed and in final form, including at or any time before any meeting of the board in March 2022. Dr. Rios.
Also,
Mr. Orfeld.
sorry. I move that the Board of Trustees authorize Superintendent Carlos Rios to review, approve, and sign the board meeting minutes regarding the February 21st, 2022 meeting once such minutes are typed and in final form, including at any time before any meeting of the board in March of 2022.
Heard the motion from Mr. Overfeld, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. There being no other items on the agenda, is there a motion for adjournment? Motion made by Amy Hayes, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We're adjourned. Thank you and good night, everyone.